With your favorite Amazon device, like the Echo or Kindle Fire, you can now listen to Paw Print using your voice. All you have to say is,
Alexa.
Then right after that, say these words.
Play the Paw Print Animal Rescue podcast.
Getting the latest episode of Paw Print Animal Rescue. Here it is from iHeartRadio.
This is Paw Print, an animal rescue community. Episode 162.
Thanks for listening.
This is Paw Print, an animal rescue community. Episode 165. I'm Nancy Ree.
And I'm Harold Ree.
Today's guest is Mike Murray of Pet Food Express.
A lot of people really feel that rescue dogs are damaged goods or rescue animals. And that's as far from the truth as you can get. They are primarily animals that just didn't have the right start.
We're honored to have Mike Murray of Pet Food Express on the show today. This weekend, his company Pet Food Express is hosting the Bay Area Pet Fair in Pleasanton, California at the Alameda County Fairgrounds. Last year, well over 100,000 people showed up, not only in support of animal rescue, but many people, over 1,000 people, walked away adopting a brand new companion animal. Nancy and I had a great time hanging out with Mike, and if you want to learn more about this weekend's Bay Area Pet Fair, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/165.
Mike Murray, do you want to state your title and what you do for Pet Food Express?
I'm the Director of Community Outreach for Pet Food Express, and that involves working with all our community partners, so rescue groups, shelters, anything that we do in the community that touches animals and people, I'm involved in.
And you had this position from the outset since
they created
the
this
company.
job for me in 2005.
Okay.
I had worked with Pet Food Express as a rescue person. I had my own rescue, German Shepherd Rescue.
Uh-huh.
So I knew the owners, Michael and Mark, from doing adoptions at the store. And I was in a totally different field, but I wanted to get into the pet industry, and Pet Food Express was my first choice, primarily because the way they treated me as a rescue group, the fact they didn't sell animals was important to me.
Yeah.
So I approached them, and they wanted to expand their community outreach, but they wanted somebody who knew the shelter and rescue world to do it. So
Amazing.
yeah, so I got lucky and got a job created for me.
So how many years have you been with the company?
13.
Great. Okay. So then tell us a little bit about Pet Food Express. I mean, for folks who obviously maybe aren't on the West Coast, they may not have actually seen your stores. So
Sure.
tell us a little bit more
The
about
company was founded about 30 years ago here in the Bay Area by Michael Levy. And Michael was a dog trainer at one point. And he opened a small retail store to keep supplies for his training customers. And he found out that the retail was a better fit for him than the dog training. And so he grew the company to 2 or 3 stores in the first 3 or 4 years. And then Mark Witcherell, who is our co-owner, ran into Michael at a dog show and was complaining about the food that Michael didn't carry in his little store. And Michael said, well, I'm looking for a partner. And so long story short, that was 18 years ago, Mark joined the company. And the growth has been pretty phenomenal since then.
Yeah.
When I joined the company in 2005, we had, I think, 20 stores, and we have 63 now.
Wow. Yeah, we've seen it ourselves because we moved to Walnut Creek in 2005, and there was only the Petco across the street.
Right.
And then when did you open the Walnut Creek store? Was it like 2006, 7-ish?
Somewhere in there. It was a couple years after I started.
And then after that, it just proliferated down like 680.
What happened is, Blockbuster Video was going out of business, and their size stores and locations really fit our model as far as square footage.
Yeah.
So a lot of our newer stores are ex-Blockbuster Video stores.
Oh, okay.
Love that.
Okay.
Less videotapes, more dogs and cats, right?
Right, yeah. So,
and was animal rescue a key mission or a goal of Pet Food Express from the outset?
yeah, Michael
by the
and then
founders?
when Mark joined, they're both animal lovers. And I always tell people, the way I describe them is they're 2 animal lovers who happen to be very good businessmen too. And I say it in that order, because they're both passionate about animals. Michael brings his French Bulldog that you saw out front today.
Was that him out there?
That's Michael out front. And
Okay.
That's his dog, Winston, which is a rescue dog.
Yeah.
Michael drove all the way to Southern California to get Winston to make sure it was a rescue dog. Mark's got his 2 or 3 rescue dogs he brings to work with him every day. So they really do walk the walk and talk the talk, which I respect a lot. Yeah. And like I say, they helped me as a rescue before I worked here. And as the company has grown, the commitment to giving back and growing has grown too, which is nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the Bay Area Pet Fair. For those folks who are just listening for the first time, they might be wondering, what is the big deal?
Yeah, so this is our 8th year of the Bay Area Pet Fair, and it existed before we took it over. It was a small event in Marin County, put on by a little local animal newspaper, the kind you see in vets' offices and things. And they did a nice job. Maybe they had maybe 50 adoptions in a weekend and half a dozen rescue groups and some vendors. And then they sold the paper that they published and ran out of money to put on the pet fair. So it didn't happen for a couple of years. I had attended as my rescue group, and I had attended with Pet Food Express one year. And so I went to Michael and Mark and suggested that perhaps we take it over, and it would be a perfect fit for us since we work with rescues and shelters. We have all these great vendors, and bring that together. And so we started at the same site in Marin County, and did it up till 2016 in Marin.
Exactly. And last year when we first met, you moved it to the Alameda County Fairgrounds in beautiful Pleasanton, California.
Absolutely. We basically ran out of space in Marin County. We really maxed out the fairgrounds. We drew maybe 30,000 people over a weekend in Marin, which was great.
Which is a lot of people for that space.
A lot of people for that.
If you know that space, right?
Correct. And I thought moving it to the Alameda County Fairgrounds, in the center of Alameda's Contra Costa County, where the population was much greater, I thought, maybe we'll get 60,000 people. And I thought I was being a little bold. We had over 80,000 people the first day.
Yeah.
And
that was the first day, right?
First day. And we ended up with 140,000 people that came through in 2 days. And just amazing. And it's gonna continue to grow because people saw that and they want to come. So not only the people that have attended in the past, but new groups, new vendors all want to come.
Right. Well, I'll just talk about my experience going there because you allowed me to kind of walk the grounds for those 2 days, and I interviewed I think about 35. So I only got to interview half of the organizations that were represented there. I got to interview about 35 organizations, and it wasn't as chaotic as I thought it would be. I mean, there were a ton of people, but you had 2 huge exhibition halls, and then you had the outdoor areas which had some rescues, some of the larger rescues. But you also had splash dogs. You had canine, the police canine demonstrations. I thought it was so well done. I mean, to think that 140,000 people over those 2 days were there, to me, it didn't really feel like it. It definitely felt like a lot of people, but it just didn't feel like overcrowded or in any ways an inconvenience. I don't know. What was your experience as you were overseeing it?
Similar. We saw some areas where we thought we could maybe make the hallways in the big buildings less congested. So this year we've created a building especially for cats and rabbits and birds because to me some of the cats looked a little stressed with the noise of the barking and stuff.
Idea.
And that's not our goal is to put any kind of stress on the animals. So we have a building specifically for them. And I'm sure the cats are happy because those dogs, which aren't worthy, are going to be in other buildings. And there'll be a couple of groups that don't have enough volunteers to split out. They have a dog area and a cat area. But overall, there'll be that building will be full. And like I say, we've tried to add, components to the splash dogs. And we've got agility dogs going. We've created a space this year called PFU World, where you can go learn about nutrition. You can learn about if your dog has an allergy, if your dog has a skin problem or a weight problem. And we've got behaviorists there to give training tips. We've got Jackson Galaxy coming, who's the...
Yay, Jackson Galaxy.
Yeah, he's coming to deal with all the cat stuff. And
Cat from Hell.
Cat from Hell, and he's going to do a couple of talks, and he'll be available for people. And so, like I say, it's growing in scope, and just, we have 140,000 people there last year, over 1,600 adoptions. So that meant over 138,000 people didn't adopt, but they came and experienced rescue animals, which I think is great.
That's right.
They learned about food from our vendors and supplies and what kind of a harness to fit their dog with and or they went and just listened to music and watched splash dogs. And we probably had over at least 1,000 to 2,000 people bring their own dog to the event.
Absolutely.
Just to hang out and have a good time. And that's what we try to build it as. It's just a weekend event for animal lovers to come enjoy their animal, learn about animals. And if you're looking for a new member of the family, perfect. We've got them for you too.
Exactly. Right.
Before I move on to the next question, compared to the Marin event, obviously there was an increase in the number of adoptions.
Right.
And I'm sure it'll increase even more this year.
Yeah, it does. It increases every year. There's a point, I guess, where we'll probably max out as far as room and how many animals. And we also try to be really careful that a couple groups came last year that I didn't invite again this year because we're very strict on everybody being vaccinated, spayed and neutered, and all those. And a couple groups just took some shortcuts that we didn't feel were ethical or to the level this event deserves. Right. So they're not invited back. Yeah. So the numbers are exciting. We love them. But it's the quality of the adoption as much as anything that we're really geared towards.
Yeah, because you want to send the message that rescue animals are just as healthy and friendly and good as purchased animals.
No, that's a great point because a lot of people really feel that rescue dogs are damaged goods or rescue animals.
Yeah.
And that's as far from the truth as you can get.
No. Yeah.
They are primarily animals that just didn't have the right start or didn't have the right finish. And not all abusive situations. Sometimes families just had to change or somebody passed away. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people get dogs that they're not used to or not ready for, or cats. Mm-hmm. And so we give the groups a week to finalize their adoptions because some groups, like mine, we do home visits. Mm-hmm. Other groups, they want people to think about it and stuff. So the adoptions don't have to be finalized at the pet fair. They can be finalized in the week following. Right. And we find that useful too.
Yeah.
And it helps the stability of the adoptions.
Right. A lot of groups did bring dogs and cats and obviously in some other cases, birds, rodents, and other animals that they care for.
Right.
But there were some organizations that actually don't bring animals on purpose because maybe either for the animal safety or, as you already said, it's really because they want to make the process maybe a little bit more comprehensive with a home visit and really kind of get to know potential adopters.
I do German Shepherd Rescue. We adopt out big, strong, intelligent dogs. And we want to make sure that's a right fit for the right family, for everybody. And so we take our time with it. And but the applications that you take at the pet fair can lead to some wonderful homes, great foster homes. People sign up to volunteer from the pet fair. So that's great.
Yeah. So for some folks, they have to be a little bit patient. It doesn't happen that very moment.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
It can lead to a great outcome.
Right.
Okay. Are there any stories or organizations that were highlights from last year?
Well, last year we had the hurricanes in Texas and Florida.
Right.
And about 5 of the rescue groups and the shelters that came to the pet fair had animals that came from those areas.
Right.
Because what happens now after Hurricane Katrina, everybody kind of learned a lesson because at Hurricane Katrina, the rescues and shelters went down to Louisiana and pulled all the animals they could out of there. That included some animals locally that had just gotten displaced from their family. So even though the intentions were great, you had dogs from Florida that were ending, or Louisiana that were ending up in California or Montana. So now the protocol is when they know there's a hurricane coming, like Houston or Florida, the rescues, the shelters will go in and pull all the animals that were strays that hadn't been claimed, pull them out of the shelters and create space for the local animals so they can be reunited with their families.
Great point.
So it works better for everybody, for the animals, for the people. So we probably had a couple hundred dogs and cats that came from the hurricanes last year that got adopted through the pet fair.
Yeah.
This year we've got dogs coming that are from the Mendocino and the Carr Fire that have been in rescue or shelters recovering maybe for some burns, paw injuries. But there'll be some of them there this year. Right. Obviously not something you plan or want, but the pet fair serves as another vehicle to get exposure for those animals and to let people know what the need is.
Yeah.
You connected me with Orphaned Dog Rescue last year. We had a great interview with Karen, and obviously, unfortunately, with the Mendocino fire, the Clear Lake area has been hit once again.
Right.
Have you caught up with Karen or Orphaned Dog? I mean, how have they done? Are they potentially going to be showing up again?
They'll be at the pet fair. Karen, no matter where the fire seems to be, she's the type of person that's always there to help. She's taking her horse trailer up around Lake County and taking out livestock, taking out dogs. And that's really what a lot of these people are about. They're just really good souls who are doing good things all the time. Right. So, yeah, she'll be back, and she'll have some of the dogs from that area.
That's great. Awesome.
Right. I know last year some of the groups ran out of animals the first day, I believe.
Yeah.
They had so many adoptions, which is a good problem to have.
Right. So that was a frequent topic of conversation there and here. And everybody keeps asking me, are we going to have enough animals this year? And, I mean, we're certainly geared up to have a couple thousand animals at the pet fair, give or take a few. But it depends. It depends who comes down with kennel cough the week before. It depends what new litter of puppies they just discovered that they didn't have, a week ago. So it's always a little kind of a moving
target,
evolving situation. Yeah,
right, exactly. Well, I know in the case of Karen, I think Orphaned Dog Rescue did pretty much adopt all their animals on Saturday, and I think Karen was kind of scrambling to bring some more animals.
Right, and our goal with Karen last year is I really want this to grow where we can empty a shelter.
Yes,
that is really the goal. I didn't quite have the courage to empty a big shelter like Oakland or the Martinez shelter in Contra Costa County or the East Bay SPCA. So we picked Karen and had about 40 some dogs in her shelter. And our goal was to clear that shelter. She brought them all. They all got adopted.
Yes.
This year, I didn't implement it this year, but next year our goal is to take a major shelter with a couple of hundred dogs, a couple of hundred cats, have them come and empty their shelter.
Any organizations you want to share, or you want to keep it a little surprise?
Working with Oakland Animal Services and working with the Martinez Shelter in Contra Costa County is two people I've talked to about that. I had a meeting with ARF, who's one of our great partners in Walnut Creek.
Absolutely. And
they like the idea. And again, adoptions are exciting. We love having the adoptions, but we also want to make this about just how you keep your pets safe. There's people who feel they need to surrender their pet for reasons, and maybe these rescues like ARF can intervene. ARF has a great program right now where they're intervening pet with people is it a small medical bill? Is it a landlord issue? Is it a barking issue? And there's a way to address those. And so some of the really progressive groups like ARF are out there trying to almost, and I think they've been successful, almost like over 80% of the people they've interacted with keep those animals out of the shelter. People want to keep their pets, but sometimes they feel a little helpless. So again, we want this event to be whatever your passion or your interest is with pets, you can find it at the pet fair or find some help with it.
Also, we don't want to scare any listeners. I mean, Sunday there were plenty of animals. In fact, I had a coworker who adopted it. Her dog, she's a Cubs fan, so she named her dog Wrigley.
Perfect.
But she adopted her dog on Sunday. So so it's not like there are no animals on Sunday. There's it's just such a rush on Saturday morning. It just feels like
it is. And then a lot of the groups have animals in foster care.
Yes.
So some of the fosters can come Saturday, some can come Sunday. So yeah, there's still going to be lots and lots of animals on Sunday. But Saturday, of course, it's the old adage of first come, first serve. And people, 10 people will like the same dog they saw on the Milo website. And, of course, one of those families will adopt it. But the other 9 find one that's pretty close that they like or they just bond with. And you know this well enough is a lot of times people have their eye on a certain pet. And when they meet it, there's just not a connection.
Yeah.
And I got one of my dogs years ago before I even got into rescue. I bought him from a breeder. And I bought him because he fell asleep on my shoes when I was being interviewed. And I just thought we kind of had a bond, even though he was probably just exhausted. But I took it as more than that. But he was a phenomenal dog that I had for a long time. So, and that's the thing. People just connect with different animals. And I've talked to so many people who came on, we have no intention of adopting. We are not going to adopt. And you see them at the end of the day and they go, well, this is so-and-so. We met him or her. And there's just so many wonderful, heartwarming stories.
Exactly.
And how long has PFE been holding the Bay Area Pet Fair?
This is our 8th year that we've taken it over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Since you took over. Okay.
Yeah, like I say, it existed for those couple years ahead of time, called the Bay Area Pet Fair. But Pet Food Express took on the sponsorship, the ownership of it, and all that's entailed 8 years ago.
Okay.
Well, to me, the big question for me is, in your opinion, or maybe you do have the answer, why is Pet Food Express so involved in an organization like this? Because really, it's a charitable endeavor. A lot of corporations, they like to maybe write a check, but they don't necessarily want to get the whole company involved.
Right.
Why do you think Pet Food Express in particular is so passionate about this?
I think it goes back to my first experience with them when I met Michael and Mark. I describe them as animal lovers who are good business people, and that's really the gist of it. I mean, when I approached them about wanting to get into the pet business, my background was sales and marketing, and they said that they wanted somebody who could go out and expand what they do in the community and put what we had available to where the need really was. And that's what I've tried to do over the past 13 years. So it's just very sincere from them. It's not something that they feel, oh, this looks good, let's do this. They genuinely care for the animals, animal welfare, and they're both kind of shy, actually. They're not out front touting it. I get asked all the time, why don't you do TV commercials? Why don't you do radio spots? How come we don't see you on TV like so-and-so? And that's just not where we feel we can have the most impact. Mm-hmm. The most impact we can have is something like the pet fair or the giving tree at Christmas or kitten season promos or our big Cover Your Canine promo in the summer to raise vests and stuff for the police dog. Those are things that we do well. People come to Pet Food Express because of that, but you're also the old thing of you're doing well by doing good. Mm-hmm. And that really kind of hits home here. Really does.
Yeah, and it's really a win-win because just whenever we had foster dogs or cats, I made it a point to arrange the adoption meeting at a Pet Food Express, and the store is so accommodating.
Right.
Especially Bjarni and Dan. Now he's in Lafayette, I believe, but nicest staff, nicest store manager.
Yeah.
But it always, whenever the potential adopter adopted our foster pet, they always ended up shopping afterwards, and they buy a ton of stuff, everything from crates, beds, toys. So I mean, it's a win-win.
Well, I think one of the things that makes us unique in the industry is we put a ton of training. We're the only one, the pet retailer, that has a full-time education department.
Right.
So all new employees go through a week of training, no matter if you're here to drive a truck or do sales or marketing, whatever. You take a week of new hire and you learn about nutrition. You learn about how to put a collar on a dog and how to put a crate together, and you learn about cat litter and all that things. And I mean, I came here thinking I knew a lot about pets, and at the end of that week, I thought there's so much I didn't know. So we get very well educated employees, and we tend to hire very animal passionate people that are also have good people skills. Yeah. You hear a lot of people say, I want to work with animals because I don't like people. But we get people who like people and love animals and put that combination together with their education, and it works well.
Yeah, I don't know if enough people know that Pet Food Express is not just a retail store, but it's also a resource center to get information about food, about training.
Beautiful stores. Beautiful stores. It's not
beautiful stores. Yeah,
not this overwhelming big box that's really impersonal, really friendly staff. And
what Michael and Mark have tried to do in our merchandising department and everybody is try to make every store feel like your little neighborhood store on the corner, and have that feel. Whether it's 12,000 square feet or it's 4,000 square feet, it has that feel where they know your name, they know your dog's name, and like I say, it's a business. We're in business to make money. But you can make money and have a good business and really enjoy what you do and really do some good by doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful combination that I like. Yeah.
Also, if you adopt a pet, Pet Food Express offers a 20% discount. Most rescue groups will give you the coupon, but I don't know if you bring your adoption papers, whether they'll honor the discount.
So that's our 2020 coupon program, which I love. It's one of the best things I think we do along with the My Mutt poster program. Is every rescue gets a 2020 coupon. And I tell people, the adopter gets a 20% discount. But when you use that coupon, no matter what you buy, whether you buy something for $5 or you buy $200, $20 gets donated back to the group when you use that coupon.
Right.
20% discount,
awesome.
20%. And I tell people it's a great way to make a donation with somebody else's money.
There you go.
And we paid out almost $400,000 last year to the rescues and shelters in those coupons. So it's a real big deal.
We're speaking to Mike Murray of Pet Food Express here we're meeting at the headquarters in beautiful Oakland. The Pet Fair, the Bay Area Pet Fair is going to be on Saturday and Sunday, September 15th and 16th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Alameda County Fairgrounds in Pleasanton, California.
Absolutely.
What are some other sort of big improvements? You mentioned maybe putting cats, birds, and other maybe non-dog animals in a separate area.
The food choices. We realized, I'm a vegetarian, and we realized not only me, but there was not a lot of vegetarian options last year. Mm-hmm. So this year they'll not only be vegetarian, they'll be vegan food choices. So the food choices will not only be fair type of food, but just really a little more higher end than that too. So we've improved on that. We've got some of the seminars with Dr. Ian Dunbar, the dog trainer and behaviorist, and I mentioned Jackson Galaxy. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So there's more of an education factor with the PFE World that we're going to do. And then we have bands. We have bands playing in the amphitheater on and off all day.
The music was great last year, I thought.
So if you want to go get a sandwich and sit, under the shade of the umbrella and just hang out for a while you think about that new pet or talk about something you just saw, you can do that. And again, we just want the experience to be where you can just come and enjoy yourself and bring your pet if you want to. And come learn about something. Learn about some new foods. Learn about some new treats. Learn about some of the new things that are going on in the pet industry that's always evolving.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Last year, admission was free. I'm sure you've always been free admission. Have you ever thought about maybe charging a little bit of a fee?
I got brought up once. I got shot down really quickly by a whole lot of people in the meeting. We think free parking and free admission is important. Let people again come out, no matter what your income level, no matter what your disposable income is that month. Come have a good time. Just come wander around. And, if again, we didn't want it to limit it in any way. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we just found that it's more attractive to people if we can make it that way. So that's our determination. One thing I will share with you is we are looking to expand and have a second pet fair in Southern California. And that's in the very early talking stages. Awesome. We've got past the, oh my God, did you really say that? To okay, maybe we can pull this off.
All right.
And so we're having discussions right now whether we can do a spring event in Southern California and a Bay Area event in the fall.
Well, Mike Murray, we're looking at him right now. He has a full head of hair, so we expect if he does move to Southern California, he will lose all of his hair by that time.
I could, yeah. I think I had more last year, actually. So
that's a great idea because I used to stop by the booth run by rescue groups from Southern California, and I used to wonder, wow, you came all the way from down there up here. Yeah, and I wondered, and I know there's a bigger animal rescue problem down there.
Oh, there absolutely is.
Yeah, and I always wondered why in the LA area don't you have this organization?
Well, the Best Friends Sanctuary does an event in Southern California every year. They're based down there called the NKLA, which is a No-Kill LA event they do. We don't limit ourselves to that label. We work with a lot of open door shelters and everybody, and so we work with everybody in the animal community. They do about 400 or 500 adoptions at that event. It's a nice event, and we've attended, and we've met some rescue partners down there, and it's a good organization. We think we can take it to a different level. They actually came up and visited us here last year at the Pet Fair to see what we did. Because right now, from what I can tell, this is the largest adoption event in the country. Yeah. As far as number of animals and number of rescues in one area.
It's the largest and the best run.
Well, hopefully, thank you. And again, if we can take that to Southern California and have an impact down there, then great. And if it's a model other people take in other parts of the country, wonderful.
Yeah. Really, last question for me is one of the coolest things I saw, and I really want to thank the Bay Area Pet Fair for introducing me, was North Star Rescue. They're a rodent rescue.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, when I interviewed the person in charge, I asked her, this is more of a dog and cat event. Do you really get a lot of people adopting? She's like, this is one of our best events.
I think they had 30-some animals adopted last year at the Pet Fair.
I mean, what a credit to, it's just what a credit to the impact that you're making, not just on dogs and cats, but really just other species that people may not even realize can be rescued.
It's all creatures great and small. It really is. And that's the exciting part about it. We've got miniature horse rescue coming this year, and we've had pot-bellied pigs in the past and reptile rescue. And Yeah, for almost any kind of animal you can mention or think of, there's a rescue associated with it.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow. And I'm so glad you moved up the date to September instead of October, because I think it was the last event in Marin or the year before, it was pouring the entire week. People still showed up.
Right.
But it's much more pleasant when the weather's nice.
No, we had to buy 3 truckloads of hay to put on the ground that was so muddy.
That was not very pleasant.
The forecasts that we've been able to see so far, a month out, are about temperatures in the 80s.
Yeah.
Which will be nice.
I think September in the Bay Area will be great. So.
Yeah, so not too hot.
October is, sometimes. Usually it's nice, but sometimes.
Yeah, that was the first year before it had been heat, it was a factor. And then that year it was the rain, but to see people sloshing through the mud holding their newly adopted animal was pretty heartwarming too.
Yeah.
All right, great.
So I guess we covered this question about the wildfire.
Well, I guess really just to wrap up, anything else that you want to add and mention about the Bay Area Pet Fair?
No, I think just for people to come and experience it and really see what it's about. You can talk about it and they can hear about it, but I think to come experience it and see those animals in person. And again, one of the things I find the most gratifying is for all the people who think, well, I need to buy a dog off Craigslist or I need to buy a cat from somebody else. Come see these rescue animals. These are, my wife and I have had 3,000 foster dogs come through our house since we've been married, and some of the most magnificent animals you can imagine. And that holds true for all breeds, dogs, cats, all species. It's animals that just need that second chance. And you'll find some real diamonds in the rough. You really will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we just want to wish you the best of luck this year. I'll see you in September, and really just have a great time.
Well, great. Thank you guys so much for the exposure, and you obviously have a passion for it too. And that's so it's all people that feel like we all do here coming together, and that's really special.
Village.
It does, truly does. Yeah.
We want to say thank you to Mike Murray as well as the folks at Pet Food Express for hosting such a wonderful event. If you happen to be in Pleasanton, California this weekend, September 15th and 16th, Nancy and I will be there. I will be the nerdy-looking guy wearing headphones and putting a microphone in everybody's faces. If you see us, come on by and say hello. If you'd like to follow me and Nancy on social media, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. This is Paw Print, all one word, is our handle. Stay tuned for coming episodes this weekend where we try to interview as many rescue organizations as possible at the Bay Area Pet Fair. Listen to the chaos of 100,000 people all searching for their favorite animal. All the music you hear on Paw Print is composed, performed, and produced by the amazing Luke Gartner-Brereton. Find him at info.vanillagroovemedia.com. And remember, you spread a positive message of love and peace by saving an animal. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time on Paw Print.
Is a production of EVER Education.
You can't handle the truth.